My beloved child, stop scrolling for just a moment, because what you are about to hear was not placed in front of you by accident. Something has been unfolding behind the scenes, and today, a hidden conversation is finally coming into the light. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There are moments in life when a single question reveals more truth than 1,000 speeches. One unexpected sentence, one ordinary conversation, can expose feelings that have been buried for months. That moment has already happened. Someone looked directly at the person you love. There was no warning, no preparation. Only one simple question. Would you marry someone else? The room became completely silent. No one expected the answer that followed. Not even the one who asked. Your heart may not know this yet, but heaven has been watching every chapter of this story unfold. Every unanswered prayer, every tear you never showed. Every hope you quietly protected has been seen. And today, another page is turning. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The person you love stood there for a few quiet seconds. Their eyes lowered. Their breathing changed. Everyone assumed they were thinking about the future. But they weren't. They were thinking about someone. They were thinking about you. Your name was never spoken aloud. Yet your presence filled every corner of that moment. The question sounded simple. Would you marry someone else? But inside their heart, it felt much heavier. Because some questions cannot be answered with logic. They can only be answered by love. The silence became longer. People around them began exchanging curious looks. Someone even smiled as if expecting an easy yes. But heaven already knew the answer before the question was ever asked. The memories began returning one after another. The first conversation. The first unexpected smile. The first moment your paths crossed. The moments that seemed ordinary, yet never truly left their heart. Every memory arrived like pieces of light connecting into one beautiful picture. And suddenly, they realized something they had been trying to ignore. No matter how much time had passed, no matter how many distractions appeared, their heart kept returning to the same person. To you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The people nearby continued waiting. Seconds felt like minutes. No one understood why such an easy question had become so difficult. But heaven understood. Because genuine love is never measured by speed. It is measured by truth. Then, the person you love slowly lifted their head. Their expression had changed. There was peace where confusion once lived. There was certainty where hesitation had been. One quiet voice finally broke the silence. They said, "If my heart still belongs to the person I truly love, how could I promise forever to someone else?" Those words changed everything. No shouting. No dramatic scene. Just one honest sentence. And somehow, it became louder than every opinion surrounding them. The atmosphere changed instantly. No one expected such sincerity. Someone tried to laugh it away. Another person looked surprised. Another became completely speechless. Because they had finally witnessed something rare. a heart refusing to betray itself. Heaven smiled quietly. Not because every problem had disappeared, but because truth had finally spoken. Your story is not built upon appearances. It is being shaped by honesty. And honesty always carries incredible power. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The conversation could have ended there. But it didn't. Another voice asked, "Are you really willing to wait for someone who may never come back?" Again. Silence. Not the silence of uncertainty. The silence of deep reflection. The person you love closed their eyes for just a moment. Inside that brief pause, hundreds of emotions passed through their heart. Every misunderstanding. Every missed opportunity. Every hope that refused to disappear. Then they quietly answered. Some people leave your thoughts after a few days. Some leave after a few months. But one person can remain in your heart no matter how much time passes. The room became still. No one interrupted. Because everyone could hear the honesty in their voice. They were no longer speaking to impress anyone. They were simply revealing the truth they had hidden for far too long. That truth was connected to you. Perhaps you have wondered whether they still remember. Perhaps you believed life had completely moved on. Perhaps you convinced yourself that your chapter together had already ended. But heaven sees what human eyes cannot. Sometimes the loudest feelings are carried inside the quietest hearts. Sometimes the greatest love is hidden behind the strongest silence. And sometimes, one unexpected question reveals everything. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The conversation spread further than anyone imagined. People who had once doubted began thinking differently. Those who believed your story was over suddenly became uncertain. Because genuine emotion cannot be easily hidden. It naturally finds a way to shine. The person you love wasn't trying to make a speech. They weren't trying to convince anyone. Yet every word carried weight. Someone finally whispered, "I've never heard them speak like this before." Another quietly nodded. "Neither have I." The atmosphere had completely changed. Even those who once questioned their feelings now understood something important. Real love doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it simply refuses to disappear. And that refusal speaks louder than anything else. If your heart has been carrying questions, if you've wondered whether your story still matters, if you've quietly asked heaven for reassurance, then listen carefully. This message is not asking you to force anything. It is reminding you that what is genuine has a way of revealing itself in unexpected moments. The conversation you never witnessed. The question you never heard. The answer spoken without your knowledge. Has already begun changing hearts. Even now. New understanding is growing. New clarity is forming. New hope is quietly appearing where uncertainty once stood. Because heaven often works through simple conversations that become unforgettable moments. The person you love walked away from that conversation carrying a lighter heart. Not because every answer had arrived, but because they finally stopped pretending. Sometimes, that is where healing begins. Not in dramatic miracles, but in one honest confession. And perhaps this is only the beginning of a much greater chapter. One conversation has already happened. Another conversation may be closer than anyone realizes. Until that day arrives, protect your peace. Protect your hope. Keep walking forward with quiet confidence. Because heaven is still writing this story. And the next page may surprise everyone. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. If this message touched your heart, remain here until the very last second, because what comes next may reveal another hidden piece of this remarkable journey that no one saw coming. A quiet truth began unfolding in the hours that
followed, and almost no one realized they were witnessing the beginning of something unforgettable. If you are still listening, don't leave now. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The question had already been answered. The conversation had already ended. Yet those simple words refused to disappear. The person you love walked away, but their heart remained inside that moment. Every step they took seemed ordinary to everyone else, yet inside, something extraordinary had changed. It was as though a door they had kept locked for so long had finally opened. They tried to focus on other things. They spoke with friends. They smiled politely. They completed the small routines of the day. But every quiet moment brought them back to the same thought. Back to the same face. Back to the same memories. Back to you. It wasn't because someone forced those memories upon them. It wasn't because anyone reminded them. Their own heart kept returning there without permission. Heaven has a remarkable way of allowing truth to rise when the perfect moment arrives. Sometimes people spend months convincing themselves they have moved on. Then one unexpected conversation reveals they never truly left the place where love first found them. That is exactly what was happening. The person who asked the question couldn't stop thinking about the answer either. At first, they believed it was simply an emotional response. But the more they replayed those words in their mind, the more they realized something deeper had been revealed. No hesitation. No pretending. Only honesty. That honesty began changing the way others looked at the person you love. People who once assumed they would easily choose someone new suddenly realized they had misunderstood them completely. One friend quietly said, "I've never seen them protect someone's place in their heart the way they just did." Another nodded slowly. "Neither have I." The room filled with thoughtful silence once again. No one argued. No one laughed. Because everyone sensed they had witnessed something genuine. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Meanwhile, you continued living your life without knowing any of this had taken place. You woke up. You carried your responsibilities. You smiled when necessary. You stayed strong through moments no one else understood. You never imagined that your name, though never spoken aloud, had become the center of a conversation you weren't even present for. Heaven often works this way. Long before answers arrive in front of us, they begin taking shape behind the scenes. The person you love reached home that evening, but peace refused to settle inside them. Instead of turning on music, they sat quietly. Instead of distracting themselves, they allowed the silence to speak. Sometimes silence tells us the truth we've spent too long avoiding. That night, they looked back over every chapter of your story together. Not only the happy memories. The misunderstandings too. The moments when pride spoke louder than kindness. The opportunities that slipped away because neither heart knew how to express what it truly felt. For the first time in a long while, they stopped blaming circumstances. They stopped blaming time. Instead, they asked themselves one difficult question. What if the person I have been searching for has been the same person all along? That question stayed with them. There was no quick answer. Only a growing certainty. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Across the following days, small reminders seemed to appear everywhere. A familiar place. A meaningful song. A simple phrase that reminded them of one conversation you once shared. To anyone else, these moments looked ordinary. But to them, each one felt like another gentle whisper pointing back toward the truth. Their heart no longer wanted to run. It wanted to understand. One evening, a trusted friend noticed the change. You've been quieter lately. They smiled softly. I've been thinking. About what? There was another pause. Then came the answer. About someone I never truly stopped caring about. The friend didn't ask for a name. Some truths don't need names. They reveal themselves through the way someone's eyes soften while speaking. The way their voice grows quieter. The way hope returns after being absent for so long. Heaven noticed every one of those moments. Not because they were dramatic. Because they were sincere. Real transformation rarely begins with loud announcements. It begins with quiet honesty inside the heart. And that honesty was growing stronger every single day. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Soon, another conversation was about to happen. One that no one had planned. One that would uncover another hidden layer of this story. Someone unexpected was preparing to ask a question that would once again bring your name into the center of their heart. The answer to that question would surprise even the person who spoke it. And what happened next became impossible to ignore. Because heaven was not finished writing this story yet. Just when it seemed the story had become quiet, another unexpected moment arrived, one that no one could have predicted. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. A few days passed after that unforgettable conversation. Life appeared normal on the surface. People returned to their routines. The questions faded. The room where those powerful words had been spoken became silent once again. But hearts do not move on as quickly as conversations do. Especially when truth has finally found its voice. The person you love carried those moments everywhere they went. Every morning began with determination to focus on the future. Yet every evening ended with the same realization. No matter how busy the day became. No matter how many people they met. Your place inside their heart remained unchanged. One afternoon, they were invited to spend time with a small group of friends. The laughter was genuine. The conversations were light-hearted. Everything seemed perfectly ordinary. Until someone unexpectedly brought up the subject of relationships again. No one noticed how quickly the expression on the person you love changed. One friend smiled and asked, "So, Have you finally decided to let the past go? Another added. There are so many wonderful people around you. Surely someone has caught your attention. The group waited. Some expected a playful answer. Others expected them to avoid the question completely. Instead, they simply smiled. Not the smile of someone hiding their feelings. The smile of someone who had finally accepted them. For a few quiet seconds, no words came. Then they spoke with remarkable calm. Some connections don't disappear because time passes. The table became silent. One friend leaned forward. What do you mean? They looked out toward the horizon before answering. I've met many people. I've had many conversations. But none of them made my heart forget the one person who truly changed it. No names were mentioned. No explanations were offered. Yet everyone understood they weren't speaking about an ordinary memory. They were speaking about someone whose presence had never truly left. They were speaking about you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One of the friends couldn't hide their curiosity. If that person came back today, what would you do? This time there was no hesitation. No uncertainty. No searching for the perfect words. They answered almost immediately. I would listen before judging. I would understand before assuming. And I would never allow fear to make the decision that love should make. Those words settled over everyone like gentle rain. No dramatic reactions. No applause. Only thoughtful silence. Because everyone recognized sincerity when they heard it. One person quietly whispered. I don't think they've ever stopped loving that person. Another slowly nodded. I don't think so either. Neither of them realized heaven had already heard those words long before they spoke them aloud. Sometimes people become witnesses to miracles without recognizing them. Not miracles of impossible events, but miracles of softened hearts. Miracles of pride becoming humility. Miracles of fear becoming courage. And that is exactly what was unfolding. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Later that evening, the person you love found themselves alone once again. The world outside had become quiet. The sky was painted with the final colors of sunset. They sat beside a window and allowed themselves to remember. Not only the happiest moments, but the unfinished conversations. The words left unsaid. The apologies never spoken. For the first time in a long while, they realized something that surprised even them. The pain they had been carrying was never caused by love itself. It came from distance. From silence. From opportunities that slipped away before either heart understood their value. That realization changed everything. Instead of asking, why did this happen? They began asking, what if there is still something worth protecting? Hope quietly returned. Not as loud excitement. Not as unrealistic expectation. But as peaceful confidence. A confidence that whispered, if something is real, it deserves another chance. At that very moment, something unexpected happened. Their phone lit up. Not with your name. Not with a message from you. But with a simple photograph shared by someone else. It wasn't important to anyone in the group. Except to them. Because hidden in the background was something that instantly reminded them of you. Their hearts skipped a beat. A smile appeared before they even realized it. One tiny reminder. One ordinary picture. Yet it carried extraordinary meaning. Sometimes heaven doesn't speak through loud announcements. Sometimes it whispers through the smallest details. The person you love looked at that picture far longer than anyone would have expected. Then they quietly said to themselves, "Maybe this story isn't finished after all." Those words were heard by no one nearby. But heaven heard every single one. And if heaven is still opening doors, then no closed chapter is truly beyond hope. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because another encounter is drawing closer. Someone is about to reveal a truth that has remained hidden until now. When that truth comes into the light, it will make everything that has happened so far feel like only the beginning. What happened next was so unexpected that even those closest to the person you love could not explain it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Days continued to pass, but something inside them refused to return to the way it had been before. The conversations they had shared with others kept echoing in their heart. Each question, each answer, each quiet moment of honesty. It all pointed in the same direction. Toward you. They no longer saw it as coincidence. They began seeing it as clarity. One morning, while going about an ordinary day, they crossed paths with someone they had not seen in a very long time. The meeting was completely unexpected. A warm greeting turned into a short conversation. After speaking about work, family, and life, the other person suddenly smiled and asked, "Can I ask you something personal?" There was no reason to refuse. Of course. The next question arrived gently. Is there still someone who holds a special place in your heart? For a brief moment, the world seemed to grow quiet again. The person you love didn't answer immediately. Not because they were uncertain, but because some truths deserve to be spoken carefully. They looked down for a moment, then lifted their eyes with calm confidence. There is. The other person noticed the peace in that answer. You never stopped caring, did you? A soft smile appeared. No. That single word carried more emotion than a long explanation ever could. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The conversation continued. What makes this person so different? The person you love thought for a moment. Then they replied. They helped me become someone better without even realizing it. They showed kindness when they didn't have to. And no matter how many chapters life has written since then, my heart still remembers where it found peace. The listener became completely silent. There was nothing left to question. The sincerity in those words answered everything. Not because the story had been perfect, but because it had been real. Sometimes the deepest love is not measured by how loudly it is expressed. It is measured by how faithfully it remains. Heaven smiled upon that quiet confession. Not because every obstacle had disappeared, but because another layer of truth had finally been uncovered. Meanwhile, you continued moving through your own journey, unaware that your name, though never spoken, was becoming more deeply rooted in someone else's heart with every passing day. Life often hides its greatest developments behind ordinary moments. While you focus on today's responsibilities, heaven may already be arranging tomorrow's surprises. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. That evening, the person you love found an old notebook while organizing a shelf. It wasn't something they had searched for. It simply appeared when the time was right. Inside were small notes, forgotten thoughts, and simple reminders from years gone by. As they turned each page, one sentence caught their attention. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't long. But it stopped them completely. It read, "The people who truly change your heart are never forgotten." They stared at those words for a long time. Then they quietly smiled. It felt as though life itself was reminding them of something they had always known but had been afraid to admit. Some connections cannot be replaced. Some memories do not fade. Some promises remain alive, even when spoken only within the heart. At that very moment, they whispered, "I understand now." No one else heard those words. But heaven did. And sometimes that is enough. Because heaven never ignores a heart that chooses honesty over fear. The days ahead would not be ordinary. Another conversation was already drawing near. Someone unexpected was preparing to share a piece of information that would connect everything together. A hidden truth. An overlooked detail. A message that had remained unnoticed for far too long. When it finally comes to light, the person you love will see your story from a perspective they have never seen before. And when that happens, they will realize that every question, every memory, and every quiet moment has been leading them toward one unforgettable conclusion. Don't skip. Stay till the very end. Something huge is waiting for you.